Patience. It took us a second here just to get everything assembled, and we had to run and get some beer. Beer is kind of an important thing there for doing the show. If you bear with me for 2 seconds, everybody, I'm going to get this computer logged in so we can actually read everything everyone's saying.
And say hello to everybody.
Everyone, say hello to our friend OSHEA.
Hello.
OSHEA FERRERO is one of our local Potsquatches out here, living out in the generalized area. I'm in hope he's from Chilliwack. So basically what, 40-minute drive or so?
Not even, because I'm just off the highway. So
it's
like
perfect.
20 minutes for me, so it's
Hell
not bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty quick.
All right, we're just pulling up the show here, everybody, and then this is going to get real, and we'll have some fun here. Bear with me just a moment. There we go. And we'll go here to my channel. We're going to mute the audio so we don't get any weird feedback. Perfect. And we'll pull that up. All right.
There we are.
We'll grab this here and boom. We'll be able to see that. Ooh, look, the ads are playing on the show. Perfect. Take that, YouTube. All right.
They're giving you ads even on the show now, eh?
Sometimes it seems, yeah. I mean, I apply for it to work every time, but we don't always see that there. I just got to figure out how to pull up the actual... Oh, the chat's right there. Perfect.
There we go.
Make sure it's set to live chat, not top chat, because we actually had the top chat was kind of a thing last time, and I forgot to switch it over, so then I don't actually see everyone's messages.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I remember that, because there was some, we were all answering a couple questions last time that you were missing. Yeah, I remember that from last week.
All right, so everybody, welcome to the show. I'm just going to adjust this frame slightly. There we go. All right, so let's go back to the beginning as we always do, and then we'll hop into the show. What's happening, Prodigal Son? Good to see you. What's happening, Jansen Dennis? What's up, Texas Squatch? What's up, WB Grows? Good to see you. Herbivore 420. Good to see you, my friend. All right.
WB Grows, what's going on?
How you been doing, my friend? Who have we else? We've got everybody. Chris Barthon, Retarded Green Thumb. Good to see you. What's up, JP Page 2? Eugene Dolan. Dirty Mike. Hello, Dirty Mike. Welcome to the show. What's up, Bubba Dank? UK Flower Power. Good to see you. So, everyone, as you can tell, we have a special guest here. OSHEA decided to come and sort of join the show today and have some fun. He was going to be in the town in the hood anyway. He had to drop off some plants to your dad, was it?
Yeah, I was bringing some out to Harrison, to my old man there. Him and his old lady wanted a few plants for the season, so
grow your 4, right? Yeah.
Got it, right? And I had a couple extra in my tent that I don't have time to finish off.
No,
inside.
Exactly.
I don't have the space outside, and I kind of promised the guy I got them from that I would show him what they're going to do outside, because they wanted to know. So I got a space with some people with gardening experience for 30 plus years, so...
What strain are you growing there?
Those are going to be a couple Tropicana punches.
Oh, very fun.
I got the gas in the tent, and I got some punches from another friend who said, hey, try these out.
Hell yeah.
If you like the gas. So, and my God, I put those things in my car. They're in bed. They stank. The whole car stank like onion and gas.
So here's OSHEA, everybody. Passenger seat filled with plants, driving around town with a bunch of weed plants.
Yeah.
All right, here. Let's see what. Are we missing anything here? I mean, if only this was higher. Actually, you know what?
We got a couple of these.
Yeah. Pass the blue shit. Then we'll put this on top, and then that way. Perfect.
There we go.
Just
the
one should be good. And there we go. There we go. Perfect. There we go, everybody. It's a little bit easier now for us to kind of see everything. Now we got to fix this frame.
There. That should work, I think.
I also think we're oddly behind.
It's a touch behind, yeah.
There we go. Let's get right on the live stream here. And then click play. Nope, play.
Look at that.
As you can tell, how good am I at
We're figuring
technology?
It out.
There we go.
We'll get it there. I think that looks about right.
All right, and this frame seems all right. So here, put your hand up. We're just testing everyone to see how far behind we are. There we go. Okay, we're slightly behind, but that's all right. We'll work with it. The frame's okay now. We're good to go. So let's see here. Is anyone saying anything that we've missed? Bubba Dank says, good evening, people. Good evening to you, Bubba Dank.
Hello.
UK Flower Power says, what's up, Potsquatch Growers? Hey, we're having fun here. We're getting the show going.
Ganja Nana, your mama. What's
Hello.
going on?
How you doing, gorgeous?
Eugene Dolan. Hey.
Potsquatch, is that a Budweiser? Yes, because I ran out of the beer from my brewery, so I went and grabbed some Budweiser.
Sticking with Caribou myself. That's
hopefully, hopefully there will come a day where Mountain View Brewing formally sponsors the show, which means we will exclusively only drink Mountain View Brewing's beer.
That would be nice.
I may be their chef kitchen manager man, but we haven't formally agreed upon that for the show yet. So, hey Adam, if you're watching, if you don't like this, Adam, you know how to fix this. You know how to fix this. Every guest we'll ever have on with me only drinking your company's beer. That's right. We'll even make you a little commercial there, and then you get to become the first formal sponsor of this show, and we will play advertisements and talk you up. Also, too, everybody, if you ever want to come out for some of the best food around in Hope, British Columbia, it's my menu. I'm developing it. It's wonderful. Come check it out. I make a decent pulled pork, I'll tell you.
I haven't tried the food yet, but I have tried Mountain View Brewing, and they got some good beer.
It's tasty beer, you know, and
it's pretty decent.
They got a little something for everybody at Mountain View.
Oh,
you know.
Definitely.
They got normal things a little bit, and then they got some really interesting things, and you know, they've done some interesting stuff over the years. You know, on 420 they released a 420 beer. It was themed for 420 anyway, and they called it Pineapple Express. They got all the skunkiest, funkiest hops that they could get, and then they basically made a beer that comes out with subtle hints of pineapple, like the subtle hints of pineapple and Pineapple Express.
That would be beautiful, actually.
It's not bad.
Another one of my favorite cheap beers from BC, the Bowen Island Reef Break.
Okay.
Because that one's another hemp-infused beer.
Well, and that's
just
the thing.
A decent little beer.
You know, hemp-infused beers are a new thing, and so that's kind of what we're trying to do.
They were one of the first that came out there with it on the mainstream out of the small breweries.
Well, we're trying to figure out sort of the legal realities of as to sort of doing it actually and properly, but that's one of the things that Mountain View and I have been talking about is doing a co-branded beer. So basically, Mountain View Brewing presents Potsquatch Growers Lager or Potsquatch Growers IPA or something.
That would be beautiful, right? And I think that was the difference, is Bowen Island with hemp rather than cannabis.
Yeah.
Right? And I think they fixed the legal ramifications that way.
Yeah, well, if we go hemp, I think it's kind of like how we package our beard oil. It's like, you know, it's hemp.
It's hemp.
It's okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. What's happening, Video Reel? Video Reel says, hello, OSHEA, welcome to Earth.
I've been here for a little bit now. It's a couple years.
All right. I drank it all? Yeah, I drank the whole brewery, Jansen. I drank the entire brewery.
That's the way to do it.
All right, cool. I think we've caught up on people's stuff there. So why don't we, you know, have some fun here? OSHEA, tell those at home a bit of how, one, you found the channel, maybe share.
Yeah.
Also, two, how we connected the first time, because it was kind of, there's a reason why. I've got a joking nickname for OSHEA that occasionally, and I call him our little terrorist. Okay? So OSHEA, first, maybe share with those at home how you found the channel, and then about how we actually started talking.
Okay, so, I mean, I found the channel probably about 3-4 years ago, actually, once legalization first happened, and I was having some issues with my outdoor that I had never really had before, because I had moved back from the Yukon where it's dry, where I was growing auto flowers, back to BC here where it's super wet.
So what were the issues that were causing you to sleuthing out?
I was getting some bud rot that year.
Ah, yes, very common problem here in BC in general, in the Fraser Valley. Bud rot PM can be rampant.
It was nasty. There was no PM on the plant, but all of a sudden I noticed one day I had a lower just turned a black mush on me, and it was like, dear fucking God, what is
that
happening?
Doesn't look right.
Yeah. So I reached out because I had been following the Potsquatch Growers, and he basically advised, he's like, sorry, plant's dead.
Yeah.
I was, you
can amputate, like with bud rot, like you can amputate.
And I did, and basically and that was under your advice, I amputated. I was in week 7 of flowers, like 2 weeks into October, and I just cut the thing down and turned it to hash, which is what I do with mine.
No, and at the end of the day, like, if you do an early chop, it's better to have an early chop and save it for what you can.
Exactly.
And, you know,
right?
for example, with making like rosin, right? The earlier chops, that's where the light colors come from.
Definitely.
Or like some of those, like when you see the ghost rosin, they call it, or like kind of the clear, almost white translucent.
And I would assume, because I don't actually do rosin, but I would assume that's from clear trichomes.
Exactly. It's just an early harvest, so the color of the actual change of the development of the cannabinoids within the actual plant itself, that's where we're deriving these colors from when we're doing that, right? So, yeah.
But
why did I call you the first time, though?
That's actually really funny. So there was a post on the page.
This is the Potsquatch Growers community on Facebook, by the way, everybody.
On the Potsquatch Growers page, there was a post, and someone was asking about fumigating their room after harvest. And I had told them, I said, yes. I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, I had just finished a run that was plagued with spider mites the entire time. I live in Chilliwack, in the farming side of Chilliwack, so I am plagued with bugs at all times during my grows. So I'm very diligent about my sprays, glacial rock duster and grow to help make them a little hardier. I use Jake's All-in-One regularly as my foliar.
Great product. Veg. Shout out to Jake's All-in-One and family.
During veg, constantly. But after each grow, I bleach my tents and I bomb my room.
Means a fog bomb or a bug bomb, everyone. Yes. I do the same thing.
And I have a friend, and he comes, he has a license, and he sprays my room. So Facebook, I've been having some problems with Facebook lately from another group, and I've been getting kicked off of Facebook just for some, dirty memes. We're all having fun, and, I'm a dirty motherfucker. So I had some dirty memes that I got. But then this one, apparently, they just linked me to terrorism because I said the word bomb.
Yeah, so this is where I'm going to take over the story. So, Mikey, Texas Squatch, reaches out to me, and he goes, so we have an issue. Then Big A messaged me, and a few of the moderators, from the group messaged me. They're like, so one of our members has been linked with terrorist activity. I was like, what? They're like, yep, it's to the point where Facebook won't even let us see it. I was like, well, I'm the head admin and the owner of the group and the page. So, let me see if I have access to this. Yeah. Let's see if I can check it out. And I couldn't even see the post.
It was really funny.
They wouldn't even let me see the post. So, everybody kind of we're very protective in our community, keeping it safe. So they're all like, oh, no, we got to kick them out. We got to do this. I'm like, no. Let's just call OSHEA and ask. So we actually brought up OSHEA. With the name OSHEA, I was like, oh, well, maybe it's IRA, but we haven't really considered the IRA a real terrorist group, to be fair, in a long time. No offense, IRA, but, your golden days are past. So we call OSHEA there, and we're like, oh, so OSHEA there, we got a question for you. We, on our end, are showing that you are linked to terrorist activities, and we are not able to see the actual post. Rather than just crucifying you or excommunicating you right away, we're going to come in and ask, what the fuck did you post, man? So, OSHEA begins to share the story, and when I realized what had happened, he was merely making, a joking comment about running a bug bomb in his room for posterity, as we all should do. In between runs, we deep clean, we bug bomb. Even if we didn't have bugs, we still bug bomb. Better safe. There's certain things we do between transitional periods on our grows to keep things copacetic. And so, poor OSHEA had just sort of made that as a comment. Facebook thought he was literally talking about bombing something. And so for the first time in the history of the Potsquatch Growers Army, we were linked to a concern of some form of quote-unquote terrorism. Unless YouTube is very pro-fungus, snap, spider, mite, and thrive.
I mean, they might be.
They might be. You never know. They might. Well, they do seem to hate weeds, so maybe that's why they support the pests that hurt the weed,
It could be.
It could be a thing. But that's how we met. And then once we realized OSHEA inadvertently made a comment that was mistaken by the supercomputer that runs Facebook, Not only did we not excommunicate O'Shea, I said, come on out the house, come on, chill sometime, and and we got to know each other, and then we made him a moderator, brought him to the community, and O'Shea,
and you know what?
He really stepped up. He showed up at 420. You killed it. You helped us so much at the show.
Yeah.
At 420, it was an important day, and I really appreciate it.
Well, and you know what? It took me a little bit to get used to it there, but once I took that lap around with Nikki, and like I said, it's kind of like a carnival here. You got to have a carny and call it people.
Yeah.
Because everyone looks at your tent, but nobody does anything until you sort of yell at them and be like, "Hey." So it's kind of and as someone who's sold weed since a youngin', that's a weird thing that you just don't fucking do.
No, right? And it's I don't know. It's you assume one thing, right? But it was pretty funny. When I looked into the admin back end of this from what Facebook was saying, I was like, well, that's new.
Yes.
I mean, we haven't had that one.
Well, it was new to me.
We've had some bigots show up in the group occasionally. We've had some bullies show up into the group.
Yeah.
We've had some two-faced people, narcissistic children that showed up. We've had some unhealthy members that we've had to remove. And to be honest with you, being so international and such an international group, we've only really had to kick out 10 people over 6 years. So to me, only having to kick out 10 people over 6 years, I mean, that's pretty goddamn good in my humble 2 cents. I think that's pretty good.
I mean, I think our community is pretty safe to be honest with you. I'm a part of a lot of different cannabis communities online, through my Instagram.
Yeah.
Through about, I don't know, probably a dozen different ones on Facebook even.
Yeah.
And ours, we don't get the scammers in ours. We don't get the trolls.
Not typically. It happens once in a blue moon. I've always had the feeling that there's a few sleeper agents from a few people that are in our group and they're just watching. But that's whatever.
Remember you telling me about
that. Let them watch us. I'm not really worried. I mean, if you don't have any trolls, we've talked about this in the last few shows and other shows. And I mean, if you don't have some trolls, you don't have some people that are threatened by you, you're doing something wrong. So it means we're on the right track. We're doing the right thing. We just launched the most affordable CBD line in the whole goddamn world. That's a real fucking true fact.
It is, yeah.
And let them be threatened by that.
They should be.
Yeah, we're on the verge of launching the genetic brand and making seeds affordable.
Not just that, the giveaway that's coming up here.
Biggest giveaway, the biggest seed giveaway in the history of cannabis.
Yes, I keep talking to these, like I said, that the geneticist that was offering the trial to be a tester. And I mean, I've been a tester.
Tell them what the name of the genetic brand was.
Alien Genetic Rift Genetics.
Or Alien Rift Genetics, you said,
yes,
right?
Alien
and
Rift
I was like,
Genetics.
well, those motherfuckers just ripping off Vader OG's name anyway. No, that's
exactly.
Okay, hello, secondary copycat. They're a copycat of copycat.
Yes, and you know what? And, I've been a tester for a lot of different people over the years. Wanting to test their products outside
maybe at home what you
for
can
stabilization.
Do. Yeah, maybe what you can do is tell people what the typical dynamic of a tester relationship with a breeder is.
That's actually perfect.
Yeah, tell them what it's supposed to be like.
Okay, so typically when I have tested genetics for people, because I am an outdoor grower, what they want to know is how hardy their product is in the outdoors, realistically. And they ask me personally to beat the shit out of these plants outdoors, dry them out, just let them leave a couple just to the rainfall, water some, and you give updated photos and how they're doing, and you just tell them what their plant is doing so that they can stabilize certain traits out of that plant eventually, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, so anyone at home, and this is something we should share too, because they tried to charge O'Shea money.
Yes,
and that is not how this type of relationship works.
That's where I just canceled off this guy's conversation. I was like, at $80, I was like, I don't care if you give me a T-shirt. I was like, that's an expensive goddamn T-shirt.
And a lot of people too. Well, ours are only $30, right? And that's Canadian. So to you Yankees at home, I'll tell you. Well, not everyone in America identifies that way. Texas, that's a shout out to you. Mikey's like, I ain't no Yankee Doodle Dandy. I ain't American. I'm a Texan. I'm like, all right, baby. All right, big Mikey. But so how this works typically, everybody, if someone reaches out to you and offers for you to be a tester for them, these are great opportunities for people to get low barrier access, low cost access, aka free cost. The only thing you're paying is your time, and if you take on a tester thing, be reputable. So
be mindful, take notes.
Yeah, take notes, take pictures
every step of the way.
Share the information back, okay?
Because that's what it's about, is sharing the information with everyone.
That's what you're paying, because we as breeders, we as growers, even if we've got a huge setup, can only grow so much stuff. Exactly. When we're in development, we're discovering the magic, right? So today we will be planting later today. I just got to get things cleaned up down here after the show a little bit before I do that, because there's some pollen floating around, obviously from the breeding and stuff. But is the new Galactic Citrus Shiva. We're going exclusively Galactic Citrus Shiva on the next run, and it'll be interesting.
So you're doing a big pheno hunt then?
If something pops up that I want to work with, we will use it. I may also, just for fun, I wouldn't call it a pheno hunt, because unless something really special pops up, I may not stabilize it to an F2. I mean, if I get a good male, and if I get a good female, then I might do an F2 run. Yeah. But for me, when a new genetic is an F1 initial cross, I'm doing what I call more pheno watching. So it is a hunt in a sense, but not necessarily a hunt that we're specifically utilizing it. I've got thousands upon thousands of these beans. For me, it's just sort of taking that first look, quote unquote, behind the veil of the magic hidden within the pheno or the genome of these initial crosses. Yeah, what do we have to work with? And then after the watch, you start to think, well, I saw it do this, I saw it do this. Well, let's see if we can find one that does that again, and maybe we'll make it go with this one and do this or this or that, right? But here, let's just do 2 seconds here,
and let's check what people have been saying.
Yeah, let's go here. We're gonna scroll backwards. What's up, Visible Farms? Does he test with clones? Well, no. These were from seed. These were seed tests.
I typically get seeds for testing.
1 second here, everybody. I'm just scrolling back to quickly scan everything.
And actually, I still have some Grape Ape and from Chris Matos on the page.
Yeah, Chris Matos.
And Chris Matos, I am sorry I haven't gotten
I don't think I say his name right. I just say it fun. I have fun with I like to say it, Chris Matos. You know,
it sounds
have fun with it, right?
Sexy like that.
Yeah.
But yes, and I'm sorry I have not gotten to those yet. I will not get to them until the fall, because I don't run AC in my room, because it just cost me too goddamn much money.
And I feel you. I mean, I many years ago accepted I spent a shitload of money on my stuff. Yeah. And Pilgor's talking about how sort of legitimate tester does all these other things as well. Well, and you're not wrong necessarily, Visible, but at the same time, for me, if I'm sending out to someone who's a grower at home some seeds, I mean, if I specifically ask you to test the clonability or test this or that, that's fine. Typically, that's stuff I can test on my own myself. So for me, I more want to see what someone else's different style, different approach, different this, different that, what'll happen. So I gave you some Orange Warrior Widow. I gave Glenn some Orange Warrior Widow.
I'll be running that in the fall.
Whenever you get the chance, yeah. And and for me, like, Glenn's doing it outside this year, because I was actually pretty sure this Orange Warrior Widow may actually be something we inadvertently created that might be able to survive BC's by
and that's what I'm thinking too. And I was really hoping to get a good outdoor space this year, but I didn't pop beans in time to get them.
Visible Farms has a question for you. Do you stabilize genetics for others, or do you just test them in their initial state and look at the phenos that exist?
I have done some stabilization for people and gone into F2s and F3s for people. However, because I got my basis as an outdoor guy, typically guys for me are looking how hardy their plant is outdoors, number one, because they want to stabilize it for a BC climate. Like, I actually helped Island Pink become a thing.
How many years ago would that have been?
That would have been about 7 years ago with the Island Pink. And because it wasn't under my name, unfortunately. It was, again,
well, there's 1,001 Island Pinks out and about now. The first time I met a pink kush, I would have been about 15 or 16 years old when it first came out. It was a BC strain. Yep. So the island, we'll give some backstory. So for people at home, Vancouver Island Pink, or Vancouver Island Pink as it's known to many, or the Island Pink is what it's, I guess, colloquially become now, is different subtle variations and subsects of Pink Kush that exist here in BC. Pink Kush was originally developed in BC, and it has been reworked and kind of done in slightly different ways. I've seen a lot of different versions.
There's been some green crack put into it over the years, I believe.
On certain ones, I've seen that.
I know that there's another VI holder of the pink that's thrown in an original OG into it, and they were just trying to get bigger formation on it than the Pink Kush had originally, I believe.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading this.
Yeah.
Bear with me for a second here, everybody. I'm just absorbing information. Oh, I agree, Tony Clifton. It is all about genetics. But at the end of the day, and I mean, people, in terms of trolls, like, I mean, our community, we don't tolerate bullying. We don't tolerate belittlement or condescension or anything like that. So at the end of the day, if someone is really acting inappropriately in our community, how we handle them is we don't instantly ban people, unless it's really horrific. We've never instantly banned anyone currently, though. We have had warnings, we've had conversations, and we've had strongly worded statements from myself to them about things. And then if behaviors don't stop, then we just quietly, remove them. If you notice, I don't openly name anyone that I have removed. There's a bunch of you I could right now. But that would then descend to your level. I'm not going to shit on your parade.
And hey, take it from a guy who is labeled a terrorist,
like
having this guy right here call me. I was a little fanboyish, to be honest, when I got that video call from
I do also enjoy
from Uncle Potsquatch and Gazzers in New Zealand, because I've actually known Gazzers' name for a long time. And that was when I was traveling in New Zealand, and I heard about his name and wanted some of his weed. Couldn't get it because, 10 years ago in New Zealand, it wasn't easy to get good weed.
Well, and it's still, unless you know Gazzers pretty much, it's still hard to get good weed in New Zealand.
And I had just heard his name through the grapevine, through my uncles and stuff, from Australia, actually, and from out here. Some of my uncles knew his name, and yeah, I had tried, but when I got that phone call, I was like, click, boom, like, hey guys.
I'm just going to address this. Pilgor, we did not read you as being a troll right now. I know you're just asking questions, and we're happy to answer them. So don't worry, Pilgor. We're good, baby. We're 100% good, bro. And but yes, and so long story short, it was pretty funny, and like that is one of my sick pleasures. Like it's my, I love freaking people out. So it's like people can be like, sometimes I'll just randomly call people too,
which is perfect, and that's what makes you one of the greats out there. And like,
I wouldn't say that. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm a bashful man. You're gonna make me blush. Right. But the funny thing is one of the fun things too is when people in the community, right? Like, so they'll see me as Josh D. Fletcher, and I'm listed as an admin of the community, right? But so obviously they get certainly that much at least. But when I call them, they don't realize that me as Josh D. Fletcher is actually, in fact, the Potsquatch. But then when I call them, they're like, "It's you." Like, yeah, what's up, man? What's up? They're like, "Ah!" I'm like, "It's okay. I'm a normal human. I'm just drinking some beer, a little stoned right now. Figured I'd just call you and say hi." Hello. Yes. How are you doing? Yep. All right. It's okay. Don't freak out.
I can 100% agree with. Like I was telling you earlier, I was a tad bit fanboyish. Like I was like, oh my god. I'm like, is this guy actually calling me right now? Like,
no, I'm a hologram.
Right.
See, look.
You could be. We'll just
poke me. I'm off. See, look, went right through. Right through. Yeah, not real. Not real. OSHEA is actually having a bad acid trip right now. I am a complete hallucination. And you're all on acid, too.
Been through a few of those.
Yeah, me too. But, good times. I need a beer. I'm going to grab a beer. Do you need a beer?
I do need another beer.
All right. Did you bring yours down?
I did not.
All right. You're drinking Budweiser now because I'm not going up the stairs.
That's fair. I can drink a Budweiser. I ain't picky.
Yeah, neither am I, to be fair. Oh, here. All right, just to show Adam how sexy, if he even watches the show. This is one of the owners of Mountain View Brewing.
Oh,
see, Adam, this is how sexy the show could be now. Today we are going to be enjoying a table saison, a small batch selective brew. It has an IBU of 27. It doesn't taste.
It's actually nice and low, actually, for a saison. That's pretty low.
And it's only 4.6 by alcohol volume. To be honest with you,
nice.
ABV calculations can be a little floppy. It could be a little bit stronger than that, but I won't go with the 4.6.
You know what? As someone, you're a back of house leader. I've done back of house, but I'm a front of house head.
I've done those as well.
I ran bars as my part-time gig because I'm a tradesman.
Yeah,
but I ran bars for a very long time.
Cheers,
my friend. And I know my beer. The last bar I worked at was Triple Play in Chilliwack. We were a craft beer bar, sports bar, and musicians bar.
Oh, fun.
More often than not. And it was 5 times a week. We had live music playing and just slinging craft beer off the tap one by one.
Hell yeah.
So I got to know my crafts pretty well. And again, Mountain View Brewing.
Yeah.
When they came out, I made a special stop in Hope to come check them out. And yeah, they got some good beer.
Oh, yeah. So, and to respond to you, Stony Baker MD, is this a beer commercial? Not yet, but it could be. Mountain View Brewing. I'm aggressively trying to get my employers to sponsor the show. So, ladies and gentlemen.
That is very nice.
It could, yes. It is not bad, right? Adam, sponsorship. It doesn't cost you anything but beer. All right. It's astonishing what Uncle Potsquatch is willing to do for some free beer, but...
I might have to grab some of these on my way home,
no,
too.
They're not bad. Well, they got a few different things. You could pick up some of those Pineapple Express, but be careful. It is quite potent.
They do growlers?
They do. They do the half size and the full 64-ounce size growler as well. That's right.
It's hard to actually find small batch breweries that do growlers still. Found a lot of them have cut them off just for canning and bottling purposes.
1 second, I'm just reading here.
Prodigal son. Thanks, Texas Squatch, Prodigal son.
Actually, Prodigal son, I'm more of an asshole. I don't have much of an ass. There's a reason why I invest in a good belt. I came from a line of hockey players, and I didn't get that hockey player ass, god damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, me too. I got that French side of the ass rather than the Italian.
Yeah.
It's flat, the belt.
We ain't got no curves.
Even with a belt, it falls down.
Prodigal son says, I'm an alcoholic. Well, one, I mean, are you an actual alcoholic where you're someone who should not drink, or are you someone who has borderline alcoholic tendencies who probably can still drink a little bit as long as you're a good responsible drinker? Because that's the thing.
That's actually
it's a real thing.
It is. I quit drinking for a couple months at a time just because I noticed my level getting up past that point that I like. And I'll just cut drinking out for 6 months or so.
I quit for 133 days once. He was actually on the show. Also, side note, the questions are coming out soon for the giveaway. Start remembering this. This may be a hint at what one of the questions may be.
Ooh.
And so, I went for an extended period of time. And, I went for a time basically switching to de-alcoholized beer. It was something it was something that kind of tasted like beer, but it didn't have any alcohol in it. And I was good to go. And that's something that I did on the show for a while. And it was about 133 days, 133 days. But it was the perfect thing that I needed. Detox the body, get the body feeling happy and healthy, and then learning to responsibly drink without drinking or overindulging. Yeah. And even with cannabis, overindulging is not a good thing too, right?
No,
like healthy 100%. Use on all of these things is part of how we can live healthier lifestyles. You know what I mean?
You know what? I grow copious amounts in my tent. I run full cycles in my tents constantly as long as I can. I usually run outdoor, which my outdoor, honestly, off the 4 Canadian plants I can grow, I could grow a year's supply worth of hash for myself.
Oh, easily.
Not a problem. Yeah. Like, I can push 4 pounds of plant outside here.
Oh, certainly. Right. Especially if it's a good summer, you got some good sun, you got the right genetics, you do the right training and handle it properly. And if she's got enough room on that root ball, you know what I mean? She's good to go.
Oh, yeah. I only direct plant in the earth. If you're going to do outdoor, don't do pots, people. I don't care who the fuck you are. No-till pots are great, but unless you have over 80 gallons in that pot, it's not going to give you
a blending of those two worlds, though, is like something that, for example, Pilgrim does a lot of, which is no-till, but raised beds that he does in his greenhouse. And I love some of the work they're doing down there in Arizona on that.
Because even if you line the bottom of your raised bed, if you're going from seed rather than clone, that taproot's going to push through the bottom of that raised bed. Not a problem. Yeah, even if it's lined.
And even if it's lined, let's say you even line it and box it out so it can't push through. As long as you go to a certain depth, we have more than enough area.
If you're a 4-foot raised bed, yes. 100%.
Well, and that's typically how I'll often do it, is I'll actually box it out so that it keeps it separate so they can't spread out too far. It controls my stuff. So it controls the plant a little bit. But at the same time, still has enough room with my control or guidance that it's going to go to a certain size. Now, I don't typically do outdoors. I've consulted on a lot of outdoors. I've helped people, and I've worked as a technician for a lot of big outdoor grows. But that's more so just to kind of try to help people out, make a few extra bucks on the side. I'm a hardcore inside indoor growing asshole. That's just sort of my thing. I'm a nerd that way. That's what I'm into. It's how I was raised. I'm a BC grower.
Yes,
we're indoor people. Typically, many of us.
Typically, right? Yes. And see, for me, like, I got my start in the business. Like, I grew up in the Lower Mainland. Yes. However,
Pilgor says he begs to differ. All right, on which point, and you're more than welcome to. That's part of the fun, because there's 1,001 ways to the end destination.
100%.
1,001 difference of opinions in growing, because the fact is if there was one set way, if there was one set thought or ideology, there would be no point in us having cannabis cups.
Exactly, and you know what? Weed would be the same worldwide. BC Bud would never be known as BC Bud.
So Visible Farm says living soil can be done in just about any size. Oh, we're not saying that living soil can't be done.
I'm not
We're
saying
just commenting on the size of the
plant,
plant, and so we're just referencing that you can be very successful in terms of a smaller plant. But if we're going outdoors, we're trying to grow monsters, we're trying to maximize our yield, and we want to be mindful to that. So we want to have a lot of available areas. So like Pilgor, doing a nice living soil raised bed that has a lot of area, very different than doing it in a 5-gallon.
And I'll put it to you this way. Here in BC, in a 5-gallon pot, your plant will die from being root bound unless you're watering it 3 times a goddamn day. By the end of season.
Dude, sometimes that happens on my indoors too. Like last summer when it got stupid hot, like it was 56 degrees Celsius.
It just doesn't work. Like you need a huge space for outdoor plants. Take your par meter outside, put it in the shade. You'll get a higher reading than what you do 18 inches under your light almost. Like, honestly, the sunlight...
Well, right now, the average par in the sun, the average median of pretty much any place in the world, so we're going to average out the basic par's inflection on the planet right now. Usually, it averages out to being about a 26 to 2650 par rating. Our highest par numbers are roughly about 16.5 maybe, right? And so, but in a controlled environment with it that close, that 16.5 par rating, it's insane.
More than enough.
That's where like a lot of foxtailing happens on these fragile newer genetics by a lot of people too, right? But
and I've actually got a guy on my Instagram, and he was catching a lot of flack lately because he's trying that new, it's for veg, it's 12 hours on, then 2 hours off, then another 4 hours on for the day. And so for me, as an outdoor grower, I somewhat understood this right away, because what you're doing, because even indoors, we're trying to simulate the outdoors without the harmful products. So for that, I can see it being cloud cover coming over the sun, shading out your plant. Sun goes behind a tree, shading out your plant. And yes, because plants originally, they grow best outside. I'm sorry. It is the bond. You're going to get a bigger plant no matter what.
I don't disagree with that. You can produce very inexpensive production, huge amounts outdoors.
But what he's trying to do is he's simulating natural sunlight. Now, what I had mentioned to him is possibly if you could find a way to turn your plants on a dimmer for those times rather than off, you would be absolutely better. Because it's simulating shade as a cloud goes over the sun.
And that's what we're doing.
It's simulating shade as the cloud goes behind
growers
a tree.
In general, what we're doing as production, right? Like, is we are emulating Mother Nature. Now, when it comes to furthering our knowledge, when it comes to furthering our designs, when it comes to furthering our techniques on stuff, emulation of outdoors it goes hand in hand with indoors, right? So, and I'm all for these experiments. I mean, I my only comment I would say on some of these weird photo period experiments that are being done is that with some of these newer genetics, this can freak out the plant and trigger a ninja Hermes, which is what I like to call them, which is where basically your nanners clusters come out underneath the sugar leaf and they kind of hide. It's almost like the plants are getting smarter when it comes to how they hear me now.
I had another friend, he didn't realize it was her, and this is an experienced grower of 15 years, like 15 plus years. Like, I've been friends with him for a long time. He's not on Instagram, YouTube, anything like, but it was 6 weeks, and then finally he discovered this thing was Hermes. And so I told him, I'm like, hey, I was like, you know what, honestly, I'm like, that's a super healthy...
Oh, Stoney, stop it. No self-deprecation in here. The only one allowed to self-deprecate is me. Thank you.
But it was a... was a really beautiful Gorilla Grew lamb's ear cross. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'm like, do you have the room for it right now? I was like, if you don't, because I just chopped down my 2x2 tent. I was like, I'll put it in my 2x2, finish it off, and we'll try to stabilize that out.
No, sure.
And get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, and we can do that actually outdoor growing and finding the absolute best of that crop in his backyard. And
sure. Yeah.
You know, because he has a large space.
Now, like, I'm gonna stop you here for a moment. Texas says he's gonna send you a picture here that he wants me to take a look at, and we're gonna talk about it. So, do you have your phone on you?
I actually do. It's right here.
All right. So, Texas, if you send it to OSHEA, once it comes through, we can talk about that. Visible Farms is also saying that they're fighting PM typically with microbes, and he's saying that in response to Tony Clifton. Tony, are you fighting PM in an indoor environment? Basically, when it comes to an indoor environment where PM sets in, you can get through, but I mean, unless it's just a touch on your fan leaves, it's basically only good for distillate now. Because there's nothing you can really do unless you use a very high-end distillate machine, which is then using the actual pH of cannabinoids to remove it from the biomass.
All right, what do we got here, Mike?
So basically, though, if you're fighting inside, Tony, you know, things like the milk treatment or things like Jake's All-in-One can cure and help and get you through, but be very careful. In early stages, yes. But basically, Tony, when it comes to an indoor grow environment, and if you get infested with PM, you've got to break everything down. You've got to deep disinfect all of your equipment, break it down and get into every nook and cranny you can. You got to get into everything that you can and just clean. So if those pictures come in,
and honestly, what I will say, and
here you'd say that, I'll take a look at these pictures.
Here in BC, it's kind of a no, because we're not allowed to technically have it due to Canadian agricultural. Neem seed oil. If you were in veg, get a soft bristled brush, make a neem seed oil spray, and scrub it into that plant very lightly into every nook and cranny. In flower, never. Do not touch neem seed oil. It is no. That's a no-no. But during veg, and stop me if I'm wrong here with anything.
No, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm just also
analyzing. Yeah, like neem seed oil works very, very well for PM bugs. It will help you.
Neem oil is great. I find in terms of bugs, though, at least maybe it's different in other parts of the world, but I find a lot of bugs are resistant to it now.
They are. And I think that's because of everyone's been using
overused.
it.
Like antibiotics in terms of normal medical stuff, right?
But if you're going to use it, get, like Josh was saying, scrub it into the plant and get a very soft bristled brush to do that. Here we are. So what are we looking at here, Tex?
Okay, so basically what Tex is asking about, if you zoom in here, and we're going to show you everybody here. So you see how that looks like a ball? But it's got three pistils coming out of it. I would think
that's just a swollen calyx.
Well, typically the formation is not of the calyx. It's an actual ball, though, too.
Yeah, he's got the two extras there.
But the thing is, so Mikey, I actually don't know if what we're looking at is actually a herm. I think it's a confused plant in terms of its genitalia. So sometimes I've run into structural oddities when it comes to certain female glands. There's been a lot of female glands, especially in the last 10 years I've seen, that come out looking like male glands, but out of nowhere will throw pistils. The reason why I'm saying, and do your pattern again. I keep talking and fucking it up.
That's all right. I'll even show you. It's just the E.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So here, I'll zoom in to show everybody what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It might take a second there for me to be able to see on the show. There we go. 1 second here, everybody. Our show's behind slightly on the monitors. I'm just making sure I'm getting the proper picture.
Yeah.
So you see how there's a ball there, everybody? There's a ball with three pistils coming out of that. I would actually call it not necessarily a herm per se yet. I would call that more of a structural confusing nature on the female gland.
Is that one of Mikey's autos there?
I'm not sure. Mikey will have to say that. Oh, it did have balls though too. So,
okay.
What I will say though is typically in terms of herming, that where you see balls and typically they won't grow into the ball-looking or the pistils won't grow into that. No. Typically, it's normally around them, right? So you'll have balls, and then it'll have these clusters of female glands throwing pistils at the same time.
See, and for me, like the one and only time I actually had a hermie, it's because I overstressed going into a scrog net. under an
That'll
HPS
happen. That can
under an
happen.
HPS light. Like I grew these things monster tall. Like I grew them up to my light and then super cropped these things down to about 2 feet. So I super cropped 3 feet down on these things to lace them through my trellis net, just to really get the most out of 4 plants inside. You know, I kept 3 of them because the one in the 4th week showed some nuts. And I was kind of devastated at that point. I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, there goes the 25% of my crop.
Yeah.
But, you know, that happens.
That happens. I mean, these things, and one of the hardest things for us as growers, too, that we have to pay attention to is the cull. Sometimes we need to cull things.
Yep.
And sometimes mistakes will happen. Well, sometimes crops get lost in general, and you just got to deal with it. It's part of being a grower.
And that was actually, I got those. They were out of clones. They were from a local Chilliwack shop. And so I told them that I ended up herming one of them through distress. And they said, oh, really? We'll work on it. They're like, how did you grow it? So I told them the exact grow style I did. And they actually, and I think this year, they said they've finally gotten rid of that. They've been beating shit out of plants for 2 years now, just out of their selective grows, and they said they've got rid of that to really trellis plants properly. Because, like, you know, when I first started indoor growing 3 years ago, I was looking for maximum yield, and I was looking at YouTube videos, of course, and everyone says maximum yield in a small space, you gotta scrog.
Oh, I disagree.
Yes, wholeheartedly. Whole fucking hearted. So what? Okay, number 1, inside a small grow space, what it maximizes is your idea of wanting to climb under that 18-inch trellis net in a space that's already filled up with plants to do your cleanup, to do your maintenance, to do your work. It is so goddamn hard.
Well, the concept behind the scrog, really, and the concept of why people say, well, in order to get a maximized yield, you must scrog. That is incorrect, first of all.
No.
But it's because the concept behind the scrog, and many of the techniques that I do, which is where my bottom binding technique came from, is we're manipulating the plant to not thinking it's having to put all of its work into holding the buds up.
Yes.
So then it's redirecting energy into the production of flower. Scrogs, yes. Is it a legitimate technique? 100%. Is it great in many sense? Yes. And some people, that's their style. For me, I keep it individual and suspend. I tie. I do a BDSM porno.
Yes.
I strip. I do that.
I can really understand a scrog in a massive setting where you have aisleways around rows of plants that are 2 by 2. You got 2 plants on a table in a big row, and then you scrog that whole row. You got 2 plants on a table beside it in a whole, but you have room in between, inside of a tent.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous unless you have room to unzip in your room to go all around your tent and get onto all 4 sides of it.
Well, and that's my issue with scrogging has always been that, is it makes it so hard to do certain types of maintenance, and if you have any form of issue, good luck trying to deal with it, let alone harvest time. I mean, it's a pain in the ass.
Oh, yes.
You know, with my stuff, I can break everything down, I can still chop the whole plant, I'm good to go.
And yeah, like this run, like I started staking, like I would outdoors, like, which I don't know why I didn't do indoors to begin with, but I started staking and just low stress training. And,
hey, back at you, Mudswat.
And honestly, like already, and you guys, I'm sure you've seen the pictures I post out there, like the bud size, number 1, the formation, it's bigger.
Yeah.
Number 1, because you're not shooting for every single bud as a head. Yeah. You're just shooting for your main heads are coming up and getting light to your lowers. That's what you're shooting at.
And then we lollipop out to the point that's useless, right? And I mean, and then we, you know, And see, for me, I'm not against having some smalls. That's where hash comes from. That's where my rosin comes from. That's where my
100%.
RSO comes from. Like, I'm okay with that, personally speaking. And I'm still hitting weight numbers where it's very efficient. I'm having low cost production.
Oh yeah, like I'm looking at my 4x. Like you remember my 4x4 from that last run that I kind of messed up at the end, but you know, yeah, that Turk team that I did, oh man, it fucked her. But you know, and I was telling you, I got. You know, like it was like 240 grams for a 4x4. It was pretty pitiful. Like it was like a little over a half pound. I'm like, well,
Get it, Rick's like, Scrogs pissed me off from my
Yes.
situation. Glad people can get results with trellises and they're better than me. Yeah, no, you do trellises work. You can do a lot of, you can do that. You can do what I call this sort of the singular post suspension, which is how I used to do it a lot on the channel at the very beginning, which is just having one stake and doing kind of these suspension lines
I remember. And you see outdoor, like where I originally started, my uncles, and I mean, this is back when I was, this is over 15 years ago. But what my uncles used to do is they'd use fishing weights on everything. And they'd just tie a small fishing weight on the branches to umbrella the whole tree out.
That's fun. Yeah.
And then afterwards, they would just put pallets up. They'd just push pallets into the ground where it had umbrellaed to for the main support during flower.
Okay.
After it had stretched.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the California style they do now where they put the chicken cage around it. Yeah. However, it was much cheaper for them. And everyone in BC has pickup trucks and pallets.
Yeah. Also, so visible forms, Bill Burr has shared, so scrogging for sort of smaller places with lower ceilings to grow is very beneficial. And I'll agree with you on that.
However, and that's why I started doing the scrog, because I was in an attic. My room is in an attic. I have 6.5 foot ceilings.
And they're probably built like this, too.
Yes, exactly. I have a pitch to it, so realistically, I only have like 2 feet down the middle room that's 6.5 feet. The rest of it's angled and pitched, and so when I started, I only had an HPS light in there because that's how everyone grew indoor when I started growing, and that's what that
can happen, Mud Swat. Mud Swat was like, I had 2 little larvae buds that got bud rot from a bug that died in the sticky stuff. And that does happen. Yes. As that bug's organic body starts to break down, it's kind of like, a singular bad apple and a bushel of apples. It's going to start to rot the other apples.
I'm actually seeing a lot of that on my Instagram right now because it's outdoor cropping season on the other side of the, so a lot of these guys are getting bud rot, and it's from the caterpillar worms that dig to the inside of the stem.
Yes.
And if you get one of those suckers in there,
they're not great.
Yes. And that's, and this actually goes back to my gardening.
Yeah, we titty bras.
Originals. Like my grandfather taught me to garden when I was a little kid. He'd bring me out to the garden. He had a full city lot for a vegetable garden. Yeah. And what my job was, slug snails and caterpillars with a tennis racket. He said, get fucking rid of them. Get fucking rid of them. They will destroy everything. And so that was my job when I was 3 to 5. And then 5, I was removing all his scraps. And then by the time I was 8, he actually started showing me how to graft trees. Which when I started growing weed and stuff, and started looking at YouTube videos and how to super crop and top, and I was like, I actually know a lot of these techniques. Yeah. I'm like, these are just different used on fruit trees. I'm like, by taking off suckers and promoting the growth that you want. And I was just like, it took a little while for me to clue in, but I had known a lot of these techniques to begin with. And, and that goes a lot for saying, like, don't put the vegetable gardeners out there. Like, if you really want to grow some weed out there, grow some weed. Like, you can do it. Yeah. Like,
we got a good question here coming in from Jason. So Jason A, everyone says, hey, Potsquatchers, if I'm using advanced liquid nutrients, all right, micro, grow, blue, they're 3-part standard, all right.
I actually know that line.
And my plants are 5 weeks old, so I'm assuming that's from seed. I'm assuming that we're still in vegetative state. I'm typically by 5 weeks, though, in a vegetative state. Probex HP. Probex HP really only has enough nutrients for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I start even feeding before they run out because, I mean, that's kind of my thing. So even in veg, I'm feeding fairly heavily. Being a indoor grower, running my environment the way I do, like I'm typically watering or feeding every day. Maybe 6 out of 7 days, let's say, I'm watering and feeding. Occasionally I'll let them dry out once a week, but I'm probably feeding 4 days at least out of the 6 days. And then, I'll do, sort of like maybe like 3 days of straight feed and then a super water hydration. Yep. 2 or 3 days of straight feed, super hydration, and then we let it rest for a day. But typically, though, too, remember that cannabis can actually eat as much as you want it to. You just can't get it right away to do that, but you can build it up, though.
It will selectively feed to a point as well.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
any plant, it will pick what it wants to a point.
Mm-hmm.
To a point. You cannot overfeed too much, but it, you know. Like,
well, that's one of the things like I've commonly run into with a lot of newer growers, that the number one issue is like they're executing a lot of stuff perfectly, and they're really hitting the mark on a lot of stuff. But they're like, well, why aren't my buds big? Why am I not getting quite the density I want? Or why is this not quite going the way I want? Or why quite the way I think
Which
it
are
should?
some of the questions I was bugging you about when I first started indoor.
One of the most common things is just underfeeding.
Yes.
Especially with LED lights now. They feed more under LED lights. They're hungrier under LEDs.
Oh, God, yes.
And certain strains, too, will get a hunger very early on, and you just got to know what to look for in terms of that, and then be right on top.
And then, actually, again, to touch on that, towards the end of it, flower under LEDs, I've actually noticed, especially with this run, they become less hungry than under HPS.
Okay.
Towards the end.
Well, at the end,
towards the end.
It's definitely a distinct sort of that transition when they switch to self-cannibalization, and that's where like I've kind of started sort of flushing definitely at 2 weeks, if not like I'm up to my 2 week flush. Like I'm reining in my feeds actually a little bit sometimes.
And because I'm on Gaia Green, like and I also supplement. I do seed sprout teas. I do terp teas. And then I also use some bottled newts. But I do a 3 week flush on. I've started doing 3 week flushes just to make sure, because the Gaia Green, unless you really bake that soil for like 6 months beforehand, and because I'm on cocoa, unless you really bake it for 6 months beforehand, you're not getting all of it out. Yeah, you're just not.
Well, now do you find, because like I mean I've played with Gaia Green mildly over the years off and on, and I'm not really a fan, but that's just me personally. But do you find there still is a fair amount of salt in it that you're trying to get out? Like, do you find do you find it salty? Is it a salty old bastard? Or
it's not a salt. You know, when I started using Gaia Green, I used them because, again, as an outdoor grower, their products just made sense to me more than bottled nutrients. And especially because I wanted to stay in that organic. It was that first real big organic line that appealed to me. And, again, the stuff like the oyster shell meal that they do, that's, again, something I did in my grandfather's. He lived in White Rock, and he would have me collect shells off the beach and grind them up in a mortar and pestle until the cows came home to go spread in the garden. Like, again, as a little buck, that was my job, was all those things. So there's sort of line, like, it made sense to me to build your soil like that. Again, as a vegetable farmer, you turn your crop over every year, you put winter rye out, cut that in for your nitrogen for the next year. It just sort of made sense to me. But you're not wrong that being a slow time release, it's hard to get out. It is.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I've never been a fan of the slow time release concept. Like, for example, like I used to use, before I switched over to using ProMix HP years ago, I used a lot of the other ProMix products, right? So probably the first ProMix I ever tried years ago was their all-purpose, and it's a synthetic, so like there is synthetic newts in it, and it had these kind of little slow-release pellets. So in one sense, it was great in terms of the long-term run, but when it came time to finish, and it came time to trying to get the plant to finish properly, I really struggled with that. So that's where I'm actually a big fan of, like, because some people bitch about ProMix HP only having 2 or 3 weeks of stuff to it, and then they're like, oh, I gotta start feeding now. It's costing me more money and more. This. And I'm like, yeah, but that's something you want though, because now you're in complete control of what's there or available in terms of feeding the
100%, and not just that, whatever, because it's soil, so there's gonna be bug eggs in soil, no matter what. I don't care how clean your environment is. You buy soil, it has bugs in it.
Yeah.
So at that point, when there's no more life left in the soil, those eggs, if they hatch at that time, there's nothing for them to feed on. Nothing. Nothing. They die instantly. So that's a good point about that.
I'm just reading here from some of the people. Yeah, so one, you're living soil no-till, so I understand you don't flush Visible Farms. Visible Farms also talk about silica you can run into uptake issue because it helps the plant with uptake even if it doesn't want it. I mean, one thing I find though with the silica counterbalance on that, I mean, is utilizing a little bit of sort of a humic acid in there.
Yes,
will reduce the stress of that uptake, so it won't run into as many issues that way. But I totally, and so Pilgrim, they're really big into sugars, and they use a lot of molasses and other things like that.
I do. I use again, being a Gaia Green guy and a mainstay of like organics, I use molasses on every single watering until I'm in week 6 of flower.
Yeah.
And then I just cut it out.
Yeah.
To let everything drop out. And like I said, I do, and even on a sativa, once I hit week 6, I don't care if that thing's going 12 weeks, I'm just water.
Really?
Wow,
that's ballsy. Very ballsy.
Well, it is, but you know what? I really want to make sure everything is out of those plants.
No, and I feel you. And I also will say that, like, you know, most sats that I've ever grown, they aren't heavy feeders. They aren't. It's not a heavy feeding.
And that's the problem with those slow time release newts that everyone has the problems with. Like, and sorry if you're watching, Matt. But Mr. Canucks Grow and his recipe of 3 tablespoons per gallon, 60-40, and then 40-60, go fuck yourself. That doesn't fucking work. Go fuck yourself. Like, straight up. It just doesn't. Not with Guy, because that's what he promotes, his Guy. And I'm sorry, it does not work.
The one comment I will make about, Mr. Canuck has become, arguably numbers-wise, he's the biggest YouTuber that's ever existed from Canada.
And he makes great videos. I can't argue that.
My only comment is, one, they're all the same. And two, he's got a lot of misconceptions, in my humble 2 cents on things. And every video is the same information. It's not like you're doing anything new or anything.
He does nothing really different, changed. And he says the same thing.
But my number one comment, and it's like, this isn't a comment necessarily as a negative comment. It's kind of just a statement of observation. You know, Mr. Canuck commented on one of my videos, almost 6 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And this was back when I was small. I was like 300 subs. And he was just like, that's a lot of really good information. It was very, I was like, for me, that was cool. He was at about 64,000 subs. Yeah. He is huge now compared to that.
Oh, he's got...
But part of where his numbers came from is if you look at the descriptor on any of his videos, like how many companies has he sold his soul to? How many companies is he now repping? He's even repping companies that aren't doing legitimate things. So it's like, well, I'm not against corporate sponsorship. I'm not against you taking sponsorships and repping something. But rep something that's legitimate. Don't just rep anyone who's willing to cut you a check. Don't just fucking sell your soul down the river for a few bucks. Because it's better, because we as educators, we as cannabis content creators have a responsibility to make sure that we're battling misinformation. We're battling the negative 100%. Concepts or techniques to try to make it more accessible, because we're on the verge in the next few years of watching an explosion happen.
It's going to be huge.
In terms of people growing at home, wanting to grow their own, and we as knowledgeable people, we as people who care and of integrity, really owe it to people to that. So that'd be my kind of comment on certain things is that, no ill will towards him at all.
No, not at all.
I respect the hell that he's been able to grow the way he has with YouTube hating our kind. However, I do question the sponsorships a little bit. I do question some of the stuff he promotes because I know these products. I know what he's repping, and I'm like, it's not real. It's bullshit. It's not what he's representing it as. And to me, that's a bit of a sellout. That's a bit of a sellout.
It is.
It's a bit of a sellout.
And I have a hard time because I have emulated some of his grows and tried, because I started with the Gaia Green. So I started and that
makes sense as to why you would.
I studied his videos and I literally emulated some of his videos, and it doesn't work.
Get it, Rick just says, Gaia Green is one of my favorite dry newts, but my God, Canucks recipe does not perform as advertised. Even with ES180 and added microbes, etc., and the same exact genetics he's using.
It doesn't. Because there's a lot of stuff that he puts in that he doesn't actually put on his videos.
Well, there has to be. And let's move away, because I don't want us to start bashing Canuck.
No,
we're not bashing
I don't.
Canuck, if you're watching, we're being critical, and I will always be critical of you, buddy. We come from the same part of the country. Yep. We're both big names in terms of cannabis.
Doing the same thing together.
But, I would say, if you continue going on with your career as Mr. Canuck and doing what you're doing, I think having a little more integrity in terms of how you're representing things, stop being such a sellout to these corporate people cutting you checks. Because I'm pretty sure you should have made enough money by now that you can pay for your family's life You know, and that's why I've never really done corporate sponsorships.
Well,
and
it's like that post that I put up earlier today on the page. You know, Instagram tried to take one of my posts down because they're like, oh, this looks like, I can't remember what they said, but it was like, it looked like corporate content or corporation. And I was just like, no, this is not that content. I'm like, this is my grow. I was like, thanks though. Because, I mean, she looks damn nice. That Tropicana gas in the back that I got from another fellow Potsquatch I brought to the page, Tim Evans.
Oh, okay.
Shout out
to
if
Timmy.
You're watching. He's actually really good. He's an amazing geneticist. He's quiet. Yeah, right from a hometown there in Chile.
Many of our kind are actually kind of quieter people.
Well, I think we are quieter people.
Yeah, and that's
especially the older guys.
Yeah.
We're not used to, like I said, at 420. Not used to that carnival setting.
Oh, no.
To sell weed
I'm not into that either. I mean, the crowds were a bit much at 420 for me, but we made it through, and it's like, but for me as a content creator, like, I'm an actor and comedian. I'm a loud, gregarious, intense person. Like, if you're at a bar and I walk in, even if I'm not saying anything, you know I'm there.
You know that.
And so that's kind of where when I was building our brand, I was building the show, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have fun with it and be myself, and we're just gonna get out there and kind of do it, and you know, I don't claim to know everything because God knows I'll never know everything. But at the same time, I will go toe to toe with anyone in the industry, and I will stand by trying to educate people in my humble 2 cents and the way I view things. And if I see something that's bullshit, or if I see something that's an issue, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to work against it. I say, you know what? Fuck that shit, or fuck this. I have something fun though.
Go ahead.
What would you say to one? I'm going to take a piss and I'll come back. I'm going to go grab some weed, but
oh, that'd be nice.
You're going to grow some of the weed that you're going to smoke some of the weed that I grew.
Nice.
And I'm going to roll you up a joint, and I want to watch your actual reactions. And if you hate it, it's okay. You can be completely honest.
Oh, I will.
You can do it. Rip it apart to people. Be like, it's bullshit. Oh, that's bullshit. Yeah, it's fine. I don't care.
The Potsquatch's weed is terrible. No. I will be.
Totally
I'll be wholehearted.
Okay, what's
you take yours, and then I'll take mine, and we'll smoke one here.
Oh, we got 3 minutes till 4:20 according to Texas, so it's a good thing I brought this up there.
All right.
Okay, I gotta be quick now. Okay, so I'm gonna roll it quickly here. You talk to everybody.
I will talk. What's going on, everybody? Let's see. What's going on here? 3 minutes till 4:20. A text.
I might make it. Try a few other ones. So here, first, smell the jar. This is that Clementine Orange Hindu Kush. Smell this.
Ooh, that's actually the one I've been trying.
Smell that.
Ooh. That smells delicious.
Okay, so that's going to be the first one you try.
Well, I'm excited here, folks. This will be fun. I'm not the tester, the cannabis tester. My buddy Corey is for the Cannabis Cup, but I will try my best. Holy jeez, I'm looking at myself here on the camera, and god damn, I'm gangly.
It's all right.
I'm gonna start working out again.
We gotta put you on some protein there, get eating that chicken there, bud.
Yeah, Crohn's disease is a bitch.
Oh, trust me, I feel you. Not that I have it, but the wife either has Crohn's or the other one, whatever the other one is called. But,
eat a hat. Thanks, Jason. Oh, get it, Rick. Yeah, that Clementine, mouth-watering is right. That smelled absolutely delicious. That's like, you know, when Seth Rogen said, you just want to live in there? Yeah, that's what that smelled like.
Referencing Pineapple Express, by the way, everyone who didn't know the reference.
You got it. Pineapple Express is a good one.
I watched that movie 14 times in theater.
Oh, yeah. Did you actually...
Each time I went.
Did you watch that video Gazzers posted the other day? Gazzers, if you're out there, thank you for that, because I'm actually checking out houseplant. I like spent, probably 5 hours on there last night after the kid was asleep, fucking half cut, looking at their shit. Thank you for that, by the way.
I question Seth Rogen's pot brand.
His pot brand, I tried. Again, one of those in between, I'm out of weed, run to a dispensaries, and I tried his just thinking it would be a little different. Yeah, it was decent.
It's still a big conglomerate company.
Exactly, and that's what it was. And that's one thing that like really attracted me here to Josh, Potsquatch Growers, is getting out of that conglomerate, growing plant growth regulators in the massive farms. God, it's fucking disgusting, people. I hope you don't smoke that stuff, and please, anybody, if you have any questions, if you can't get a hold of Josh, get a hold of me. I'll help you out with growing questions. I'll get you set up. If you don't mind, I'll plug my first giveaway here on Insta, Josh.
Yeah, that's fine, bud.
You know what, guys? Like, at my Insta's at the Gromies420 on Instagram. I'm about to do my first giveaway here, and I'm gonna give away my first lighting system that I ever had myself. And it's gonna be a 3-part choice. You can take the Blurple light that I got. You can take one of the Euro 300s, or if you want to pay for shipping, because it's an old bastard, you can take...
Do you have a lighter on you?
I think so. You can take my HPS, my 1000-watt HPS with the cooling tube and the old coil fucking ballast. But you gotta pay for shipping for that.
Well, here,
that'll be
and I'll do something.
fucker.
I'm gonna do something nice to add to your giveaway. I will give you a 25-pack of beans from our fucking genetics to give away as well. I'll go grab it upstairs. I'll bring it down. You can show it on the camera.
I'm posting it on the 21st for my birthday, and yeah. So come find me on Instagram at the Gromies420, and I think that's it. Fuck, I can never remember the actual name. Can't miss it. It's a chimp in a hat.
So this is that orange Hindu. I can go grab those.
This is the orange Hindu.
And I will not steal your lighter. I'll bring it back.
Oh, I'm not worried about it, buddy. I got a dozen.
No, but so do I.
Right? Jeremiah Sanchez, we are the army. That's right, buddy. Sarah Coppin, you had some good Pineapple Express auto from Barney's Farm. Okay, so I will tell you right now, I believe Seth Rogen does run a Pineapple Express, but that is not his strain by far. I know this. It's a good strain though. If you really get some nice Pineapple Express, I've seen some of those autos grow real nice, but I think they've got a touch of some Purple Kush mixed into those autos now. Just because I see purple on every last one of their autos I see. But I don't know what's in it, but it isn't a true Pineapple Express. In my humble 2 cents, as the uncle would say. Oh, goddamn. Let's see. Mud swat. Clean your hands before touching your plants. 100%, people. I keep a bottle of hand sanitizer in my grow room. It is the only time I actually ever use hand sanitizer, even throughout COVID. I hate that shit.
Are down here, I realize.
But inside my grow room, I keep a bottle of hand sanitizer before touching my plants, ever. It's the only time I use it. Get it, Rick. Go to try the GMO Crossed Ethos by Crescendo. Ooh, that sounds nice.
Oh, that's CBD. What's in here? This is beard oil. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying to find where I put the damn seeds. Oh, they're probably in this one. There we go.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be a fun giveaway. I'm going to announce it on the 21st. And I'm going to do it when I hit 2,000. I hit 1,500 there last month. And like I told you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, when we first met there, I was at 300 and I was trying to boost my Instagram. And I made it to 1,000 in a month from 300. So now I'm at 15 and I figure.
There's a question from Pilgor at you.
What's Pilgor got to say?
How many seed companies are you a tester for? I think, because you're not really testing much these days, but you have in the past.
Currently, I am not actually testing for anybody. I do have 2 packs of test beans. One from Josh here. I've got the Orange Warrior Video.
And you can give away a 25 pack of the same bloody genetic I gave you.
Beautiful.
We don't have our actual labels or anything in yet, so it's just my handwritten fucking chicken scratch on there.
You know what? Throw on one of the Potsquatch stickers on the backside.
I could do that.
And yeah, guys, I will happily give those away in the giveaway too. So come find me at the Gromies 420. Can't miss it. It's a chimp in a hat, smoking a joint. If it ain't, it ain't me.
Of course, the stickers, I think, are
guaranteed they're in the one box we're using,
one box we're using. But I might have stickers somewhere else, too. Give me a second here.
Yeah, what else is on here?
We'll put the sticker on afterwards, everybody. We'll put the sticker on afterwards.
Eugene. Jeremiah. What's that about? That's a tasty one. That wasn't that clementine though, was it?
This is.
That is the clementine? That is tasty, my friend.
The taste is not clementine. Like, it's a very different smoke.
That's why I thought it wasn't.
It doesn't smoke. It doesn't smoke the way it smells, which is
not at all.
No, she's not bad though, and she's definitely got like this subtle but very much strong kind of thing that's coming on to her.
It is. It's super subtle to start with, but it is nice. I can say that.
And I'll make you smoke some Alien Rift after that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I definitely like that. That's beautiful smoke. Let's see here. That's what.
I'm just reading here. Oh, well, Gazzers, I'm excited to check out your Master Kush skunk cross that you did there.
Oh, that'd be nice.
I'm just going to send you some seeds. I'm not even going to call them testers, Pilgrim. I'm just going to send you some shit to play with and have fun with, man. I'm not even going to call it a formal testing thing. I'm just going to send you fucking seeds.
And that's the thing, like, I'm, like, looking at finding a bigger place in the next year or so that I can really, like, start spreading out and start doing some gene therapy and stuff and breeding a little more.
Oh, yeah.
Because I miss it. Like, it was fun to do, and creating new things and stabilizing them out, that was...
Well, I'm curious, too, because Visible Parts wants to test these out in the desert. He's like, I want to see what they do in the desert. Where the fuck's my vape? Sorry, everybody, I put it down. I'll be back.
And that would be a super interesting thing to see, is them out in the desert in the cold nights. Like, yeah, I don't know how they do in veg, but if they get through veg, I'm sure once you get to flower out in them cold nights, that would be, those would get to be something else. Let's see here. What do we got? Fuck, I'm high, guys. Sorry about this. Let's see. Yeah, Mud Squat, you got that right. Couple beers and a joint. Cheers. Visible Farm. Potsquatch ran my genetics years ago. What was it, Visible Farms? I probably watched the video on it. And
there was the Berry White and...
oh! Yeah.
There was another one that I did of his, I think. His Bubba Kush. We ran his Bubba Kush.
The Bubba?
And there may have been a third. Was there a third that I did, Pilgor? It was back in the last Grow Lab at the last place.
Alright, he asked if there was a third.
There was Berry White, there was the Bubba.
Actually, I think I remember that grow.
Yeah,
that was like 3 years ago or so?
No, it'd be about a year and a half, maybe two or 2.5 years ago. I don't know. It's hard to tell. I got to double check. Maybe that's another question to add to the thing. How many years ago did Potsquatch grow this?
I think, because I think that was like right around the time I first started following you, or just a little while afterwards. I don't know.
But yeah, well, it's the one though that there was like the weird dinosaur tail thing. Actually, if you go on my Instagram for a second, there's a video on there. We'll scroll down and show it to everybody. It's a part of a video that I kept that one part of the video and I made its own post. It was me kind of doing a default on the weird dinosaur tail pheno of that plant. So if you go to Potsquatch Growers on the Insta there, Insta was right there.
Yep. Insta, yeah. I'm always searching for where my shit is. And fuck.
Yeah, phones are tricky, man.
I fucking hate them. Let's see. Zoom down a little bit here.
Yeah, here, I'll find it because I know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, you'll figure it out quick.
It's kind of older on my Insta, but I know once I see it.
And I'm going to give you that.
And I'm good. If you want any more of that, you can keep smoking, but I'm good
I'm alright for now, but I got to take a leak too.
Go for it, buddy. Have fun.
One down here or just...
yeah, there is one. It's not the cleanest of washrooms. It's my boy washroom, but yeah, feel free to hit it up, son. Hey, I'm honest, man. This is where I hide from the wife and I get grungy.
Yeah, please.
Okay, 1 second here, everybody. I gotta find this video. Pretty sure we put it on the Instagram. It would have been one of the first videos we put on Instagram, I think. So now I feel like I've gone back too far. My beard is too small. Or maybe it was that far ago. I don't know. Bear with me, everybody. I'm trying to find a video. If I can find this video, I think you'll all be very impressed. You'll be like, this is actually kind of rad. If I do this. Maybe I don't have this video on my Insta. I could have sworn I did, though. Oh, I found it. Found it! All right, everybody. It's because the thumbnail wasn't what I was looking for. How do I turn the volume up on this shit? That's a Pilgor genetic, everybody. This is a Pilgor genetic. That's the dinosaur right there, everybody. Look at that dinosaur donkey dick. It's actually like this weird crown of all these other buds and stuff.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah. Oh!
Yeah. I remember that. That's like when you first started hyperlapsing, right?
Yeah, that was one of the very first hyperlapse back in the day. Yeah. No, I like that one. That was one of the first hyperlapses back in the hood days of Potsquatch being like, ooh, look what my phone can do. Yay.
Yeah, that was before you were in Mission too, wasn't it?
Well, we weren't in Mission. We were in technically DeRoche, but yeah, no.
Yeah, that was before.
No, that was at DeRoche. That was at DeRoche. Yeah, that was in DeRoche there. Yeah. When I converted the weird shower into a weird veg room and shit.
Hey, hey, you know what? I've turned stand-up showers into,
you can do a lot of them. Oh, I had fun in there, and it was good. And the more interesting thing was trying to find a replacement kind of shower stall unit that fit the odd specs in there when I was selling the house. I found one, and it wasn't even great. But I was like, and it cost me like $1,000, and I was like, dude, fuck you. Like, I got it in there. We replaced the bedroom into a bathroom again, though.
One of the first ever grows I ever did inside, actually. It was as a teenage. I left home early age.
Yeah.
So I was living around.
I moved out at 15. I feel
yeah. So, but visiting home, like, sort of snagged one of Mom's photography lights because I was into photography, and I asked her, I was like, can I snag one of these lights? And she was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. So I put it in the stand-up shower stall, and I out of a 2-gallon pot, I filled that fucking thing up with a 2-gallon pot, like, and I kept that thing flipping over every time, like,
so how many watts was this photography light?
I mean, I honestly, I don't even know.
But think back, though, because we know tech, right? So, like, think back and imagine it.
I don't know. I would have.
What would you say the thing was? What kind of bulb was it? Like,
well, back then, I think like it was probably just a high. Like, it was probably not. It wouldn't have even been HPS. I think it would have, because it would have just been a white light spectrum for her photography, because she ran an EOS 5 back then.
Okay.
So I think it would have just been a white light spectrum light for a backdrop. To be honest, and
so is it a CFL base?
Yeah, it would have been a CFL base.
Okay, like one of the big giant weird CFLs.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it would have fit one of these.
Yeah, like we've got like I mean these ones aren't super fancy. Everyone, they're Amazon special. We've got some studio lights here. So here we can show you inside of this. So imagine this but bigger. It's just got a basic CFL bulb like that
and it
inside.
Was exactly like that.
Come take a look at the pigtail. Don't hurt your eyes though. It's gonna hurt.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. No, okay, you're good.
Oh yeah, I'm like you. I don't wear lights in my row.
So, imagine that, but bigger one. Here, you go sit down. I'm gonna reframe this up here.
Yeah, but I would say it probably would have been only like 200 watts at that time, like if that, like maybe 150, 180. I don't know. I don't know the wattage, but I know I took this.
No, but like some of those big giant old school CFL corkscrew lights. I mean, for a CFL, they cranked out some serious wattage.
It really
what it did.
Like I said, like it was a 2.
Did you ever grow with old T5 lights, like just fluorescent tube lights?
Oh, the old fluorescent tube light. Yeah, actually, and it's funny because when I moved into the house,
this new frame, we're like totally man-spreading to everybody.
Right? Nice. What's up, guys?
Sorry, everybody.
I gave him a grab.
I was just trying to be like, oh, let's not choke off our bodies, and then now like, all right, hey, what's up?
Couple beers in.
Yeah.
Shout out to my girl Nikki if you're watching.
The show gets more comfortable. So hey, bro, like here. Okay, everybody. I won't torture you with that. There we go. This should cut off.
It's not as bad. I'm not in the shorts. You got the jorts going on.
I overheat easily.
I am the human heat boxes every.
All right, here. Let's see what everyone's bloody saying here. What's happening? Return to the mat. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, he's here.
1 second here. We'll scroll up and.
Prodigal life is love and life.
Okay, I think we're all good.
Prodigal son.
I'm just trying to like make sure.
Life.
Yeah,
we all are. Especially now after that nice big fat joint. Oh, it was good.
There we go.
Stuff is nice.
What's that?
It's
not bad, right? I mean, it's still curing, right? But it's not bad.
No, I like that high from it because, I mean, as a small grower, because I only grow from, like I said, I supply myself, I supply my family members. That's it. I stopped selling weed years ago. So my 2x2 is my veg. I keep an auto flower in it for the in-between times now because I've gotten smart because frankly, I'm sick of going to dispensaries for that in-between time. So I just keep that auto flower for that, because I always find I have that month-long gap where I'm out of weed. Yeah. Because I've given it all to my mom, my dad, my sister, everybody, right? And even my friends at work, like, they don't smoke a lot of weed because I'm in a business. We get tested for weed. I'm the only big smoker. But they all smoke. Their girlfriends smoke. So I give them weed.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Just not to let's pause your story for a second. Just because this is something you brought up that is a real thing, right? So for certain jobs, people are like, well, you can't smoke weed, be a heavy machine operator, be driving a rock truck, or be doing this, that. And I'm sitting here kind of going like, all right, but like, are we testing them for alcohol? And I'm a pro drinker. 100%. I am a drinker bringing this up. And I'm like, look, I am not a heavy machine operator, okay? But I am a smoker and a drinker. And I'm not a complete idiot. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, weed, even if you smoke a crap ton of weed, maybe if you eat a shitload of brownies, it's not fake next morning. Like, maybe you should not do that, right?
Yes.
But like, if you smoke some doobies the night before work, and you're not drinking, you're just smoking some doobies, I do not think that is infringing upon your ability to do that job. But then motherfuckers go and get wasted as fuck and to wake up and do it.
Yes,
and I'm sorry, like, I've been there, and I'm like, I don't think if I'm operating this type of machine, that's thing. So my point is, like, weed is not what liquor does. Liquor is a toxic poison. Okay, I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm a drinker, but I will acknowledge what it is.
And I'll put my 2 cents in right now with that. Okay, so when weed was legalized, again, I've always worked, even when I wasn't a driller. I've always somehow worked in the oil and gas industry because I grew up in my dad's steel shop where I grew up as a fabricator. I could weld, but I went into steel fabrication. But we worked for oil and gas companies where they test for marijuana. Now, my dad is a smoker. His dad was a smoker. My mom's a smoker. Everyone's a smoker.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, like, there's ways to get through tests. As we all know, there's the cranberry juice method. Nowadays,
I don't know if there's enough cranberries and cranberry juice anymore for that one to work anymore.
Nowadays,
back in the day when it wasn't just apple juice and chemical fillers.
Exactly.
When you could buy an actual cranberry juice.
Nowadays, we have the cleanse kits. They cost, you know, I
have always questioned the cleanse kit. I don't personally believe it.
Whenever I have to piss, I use one.
I
can never remember the goddamn
drug test.
Yeah, I can never remember the goddamn name of it, but I know there's a store in Chilliwack that has. It's in a red bottle, costs about yay big. There's 2 kinds. One is $60. There's another kind. It's in the exact same red bottle, but comes with a little pill supplement. That one will cost you $100. However, if you smoke heavily, like myself.
No, I feel you.
The one with the pill is the one you want.
All right. So now let's analyze this from a business standpoint now. Okay. Let's take an analysis of this product, okay? This product is something that we're marketing to people who are desperate. They're like, man, I got fucking children 100%. To feed. You're a dad. You got a family. Yes. You got to take care of yours, right?
Oh,
and then
detox. Detox XP. That's
and
what
they're holding it over your head, right?
Oh,
like, well, he's got to pay for his family. He's got to take care of that family. You know, so we'll make him pay $100 for something that, like, I don't care how magical a pill is or some magic juice in a bottle. It cannot be costing you that much at all to produce.
Exactly.
That's why we launched our CBD line. Is to, you know, like, right? Like,
okay, so I will put a second point to that.
Do they tell you what's in it? Like, what do they say is in it?
Actually, it is all listed. It's just vitamins. It's all just vitamins. And so
I'm just seeing some asshole at home. He's like, I'm gonna go get me this Johnson's and this Johnson's and this Johnson's.
I will actually, and I will not. I'm not a plug. I don't represent this company. However, I do know the guy who started this company.
Okay.
He worked at the Roxy with me when we were very young.
Funny. For those of you who don't know what the Roxy is, probably most of you, it is a nightclub in Vancouver, British Columbia. It is a little notorious in its own ways, not necessarily at being a hard place per se, just a silly, stupid, messy place. And interesting things happen at the Roxy. You know, you go downtown there, it's like, you go to the Roxy, it's like, like, if you want an epitome of what a nightclub in a maybe even almost in a negative way, but you know, it was like a rite of passage growing up out west. You had to go to the Roxy at least a couple times as a young person. You're like, this is not what I want.
It's the LA nightclub in Vancouver.
I guess that's
what it is.
I guess that's the way to put it. I guess that's the way to put it.
If you've been to LA and you've been into a nightclub in LA.
No, I've never been to LA, man. I'm an actor. LA. I've gotten close to getting a gig down there, but
San Francisco actually be the same thing. It's a San Francisco, like it's a West Coast American nightclub in Vancouver.
All right,
that's what it is.
So great. I ain't going to either place.
So I'm not gonna. I don't want to plug this guy's product, but it's called...
you can talk about things.
It's called
allowed to
Recall.
talk about things.
It's called Recall.
Okay.
They're a tiny little bottle of vitamin juice, about yay big. You can find them in certain convenience stores. It's very random that you find them, but it's called Recall.
Okay.
It's all vitamin B. Everything is vitamin B, which is a massive diuretic.
Okay.
And basically it has 20,000% of your daily minimum intake of vitamin B. However, what happens is when you're super hungover, when you need to cleanse your body, it's also a massive diuretic. And what your body does with vitamin B is soaks up every last bit it can, which when you're hungover, you're massively depleted of water. It hydrates you, vitamin B. It just replenishes almost it has all the other vitamin D, C, A. But
this is a locally developed product. I think I've heard about this. I actually remember when it first came out. Well,
yes,
no,
it was on Shark Tank. It was on the Shark Tank.
No, yeah. But how I saw it though is I used to bartend at a bar called the Brighton on the east side of Vancouver, and so Mayuko.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mayuko. She was the woman who trained me in the ways of the bar force and running the bar. And she was a great teacher. But she also knew these guys, and she's like, "Oh, yo, my homies just developed this new product. It's supposed to not give you a hangover."
Yeah.
I mean, some people swear by them. I have actually tried it, or at least a version of it that someone brought to my house.
Yep. There's a couple different kinds out there, but none of them are like this one. I've tried a few different ones, and they're all the same. There's a vitamin powder on the top that you push into it,
and it's cool that it exists. And I, again, pro drinker, but I do need to take a moment to just comment to everybody. My only thing is I question the, and I'm laughing that I feel the need to say this, but the fact we've developed a product to allow ourselves to abuse alcohol further, I mean,
now
I don't know if this is a positive thing.
I don't want to say this is for alcohol.
It's like because what it is though.
No,
it's exactly what
I want to go back. No, I want to go back because they developed a product for that. But I want to go back to the THC side of it and piss testing.
Wait 1 second. We'll go right back there. I got a big joke. You know when you get that pesky hangover because you were an unhealthy idiot and hurt yourself, and that little hangover, that's that little blessing, oddly, that helps you maybe rein it in and get healthy and still be able to drink and not lose your mind. Well, we've developed a product to take that away. Keep hurting yourself. It's all right. All right. No, anyway, continue.
So,
and I got to go get the power cord plugged in because this thing's dying. But you keep going.
What I wanted to say about the THC side of things is it works the exact goddamn same as those $100 detox drinks because it's also a diuretic because your body can only
Now, what's one of these going to cost you? Like, what's the price on that?
On one of these recall drinks?
Yeah.
I think they go for like $4 in the gas station.
They sell it in the gas station.
Yeah. If you can find them in a gas station, yeah. It's like $4, $5 for one of these drinks.
All right. So anyway, for those of you at home,
save you $95 fucking dollars to beat your goddamn piss test.
This does not come with any medical guarantee. This is the musings of one of the guests on my show, and we're not going to tell you that this actually does anything. But, however, the hearsay.
I've used these things.
There we go. And you've been all right.
I have been. Not only that, because these things, again, vitamin B does some funny things to your insides because you excrete so much of it because it is a diuretic and your body is excreting anything it cannot handle. And since these things have 20,000% of your daily dose of vitamin B through
to be honest with you, too much of anything is not good. Like that sounds.
But that is the one thing about vitamin B is it is the one vitamin that your body just excretes if it's had enough. And that's why you piss so much, and that's why you pass your piss test. However, it makes your piss look like if you've ever seen the movie Role Models when they're pissing in the urinals, like it looks like Shrek's piss. Yep, it will do that.
Don't freak out anyway. No.
Oh, you should have seen the nurse's look at the piss test office when I gave her a jar of that stuff.
Hi, I'm here to report for my. See, this should be like, oh, this has got to be a thing, man. We got another Shrek.
Yep. Well, and they have the bottle. They actually have the bottle of the other stuff that I use, the detox.
Now, here's my question. Is it a temporary window it's provided?
It is. It's always a temporary window.
So it's only while your body's excreting Shrek piss that you can then provide a urine sample?
Well, and it's the same. I'll look up the drink right now. Okay. Not the recall, but the detox one first.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll show you both of them here.
It's an interesting thing to talk about. I don't think we've ever talked about this on the show, actually, the detox concept. Because when I grew up, that was a big thing, right? Like when you were younger, and I was younger, before we started aging, I mean, you're not going bald, I am, but it's just my. We would open up a High Times magazine, and there was always these advertisements, because drug testing was prolific back then. It still is in certain industries, you know.
Yep.
If my boy